Hi there, football fans. My name is Trevor Evans, and today I'm going to be bringing you the latest market value update. This season saw more than 100 players increase their value, and we've put together a team of the top 11 who increased the most. So, let's get started. And in goal, we have Dean Henderson, who increased his value by 5.5 million, and he has established himself as one of the most consistent goalkeepers in the Premier League. In the midterm, he is the prime contender to inherit David De Gea's #1 spot at Old Trafford. However, short-term, he may be staying with Sheffield United for another season. Chelsea could also be interested. Probably the best Englishman between the sticks at the moment and a prime contender for the #1 spot at Euro 2021 based on his current form. The first of our two centre-backs is Eric Garcia of Manchester City, whose value increased by 9.7 million euros. And he kept some well-established internationals out of the team and is a very technically and very strong, gifted centre-back. He played a very important role for Manchester City after the restart. The question in the long run is whether he is physically strong enough for English football. Partnering him as centre-back from Leicester City is Söyüncü, whose value increased by 8 million euros, and he was one of the surprise packages with a very strong season at Leicester City. He had big boots to fill with the departure of Harry Maguire to Manchester United, and he did not disappoint. He has quickly become one of the most wanted central defenders in the Premier League, and Manchester City are circling the King Power Stadium for him. Moving into the fullback positions, and at left back we have Kieran Tierney from Arsenal, whose value increased by 8 million euros. He returned from injury on fire and quickly made the transition from the Scottish Premier League into the English Premier League. He's very mature and smart for his age. Over at right back, we have Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool, whose value increased by 11 million euros, taking him up to a grand total of 110. And he managed to up his game from last season, where he already set a Premier League record of assists for a defender. He beat that this season with a total of 17 goal participations in 38 Premier League matches. Quite possibly the best right back in the world at the moment, and is on path for greatness. In central midfield, we are joined by Ruben Neves from Wolverhampton Wanderers, whose value increased by 10 million euros and is the linchpin of a strong Wolves team. He will probably soon make the step to a top club, but will enjoy another spell in Europe next season if he hangs around for one more year. Moving up the pitch to the advanced midfield positions, we have Phil Foden of Manchester City, whose value increased by 13 million euros. When Foden has played, he has usually made a positive impact. Since the restart, he's been playing more often and has the chance to inherit the huge void left by David Silva next season. Pep Guardiola regularly comments on how Foden is the future of the club, and that time may now be upon us. Alongside him in central midfield, we have Bruno Fernandes, who increased his value from 22 million euros, possibly the greatest signing of the January transfer window. Fernandes got used to the Premier League immediately after his move from Sporting Lisbon. Already a leading player for Manchester United and a huge impact on the players around him. Without a doubt, the main reason for their strong finish to the season and clinching Champions League qualification on the final day. And rather excitingly, we have a full English front three. At left attack, we're starting with Bukayo Saka, who increased his value by 15 million euros and has shown great development in Arsenal and demonstrated his versatility. One of the most exciting talents in English football at the moment. A number of teams were trying to sign him leading up to the summer, but Arsenal fans will be extremely relieved that he signed a new deal recently. Over on the right-hand side, we have Marcus Rashford. He increased his value by 16 million euros and is establishing himself as a Manchester United local hero, both on and off the pitch with his charity work. Rashford bagged 25 goals in 31 Premier League appearances, despite some injury problems. Very consistent and a constant threat going forward. And spearheading the front three, we have Mason Greenwood of Manchester United, who increased his value by 16 million euros. Another Englishman with a huge future ahead of him, the 18-year-old Greenwood had a great season. No one really seems to know which is his strong foot, and he can finish well with both. He had a very strong goal ratio after the restart, and the player is destined for greatness. So here's the full 11 in full view, and as we can see, Bruno Fernandes is the biggest gainer overall with 22 million euros. The old market value of this collective 11 is 399,800,000, and the new market value is a whopping 534 million euros, which is a total increase of 134,200,000, and that's in a disrupted season. That's our top 11. Let us know what you think and the values that we've assigned to them. If you have anything to say about the valuations and you think that some needs to be reconsidered, then please let us know in the comments below. And whilst you're here, why not subscribe to the channel and like the video in the process? We also have a few special mentions that we want to bring to your attention, such as Christian Pulisic of Chelsea, whose value increased by 6 million euros. He had a slow start to his Chelsea career, but has recently exploded onto the scene and is now one of the most important players who constantly delivers. Next, we have Aaron Wan-Bissaka of Manchester United, whose value increased by 8 million euros. In addition to his high work rate and good defensive work, no one seems to be able to get past him. He is now also developing offensively. Very impressive first season at Old Trafford. Then we have relegation battling Aston Villa, and Jack Grealish increased his personal value by 9.5 million euros. The most important player at Aston Villa, without a doubt, he can decide games with sparks of creativity on his own. A lot of flair, and quite possibly due to receive a call-up to the national team very soon. He will be highly sought after this summer and has proven he can cut it in the Premier League. Next in line, we have Adama Traore of Wolverhampton Wanderers, whose value increased by 9.5 million euros. He's established himself as a great dribbler, being lightning fast and physically unique. He doesn't quite fit in every team, but is quite the impact substitution when defenders' legs are getting tired. That's why we're only talking about 35 million euros for now. Of Newcastle United, we have Alan Saint-Maximin, who increased his value by 8 million euros. A great dribbler with flair who has become the darling of the audience at Newcastle. Improved his decision-making and started to get some goals towards the end of the season. Wilfred Ndidi of Leicester City increased his market value by 9 million euros this season. He's established himself as one of the best sixes in Europe and keeps the Leicester City midfield together, and has a lot of top clubs on high alert should he be looking for a new challenge or Champions League football. And next we have Højbjerg of Southampton, who had a strong season and increased his market value by 8 million euros. He will now take the next step to play for a better team, probably already this summer, with Tottenham and Everton already making their move. Well-established Anthony Martial of Manchester United finally got into the groove and increased his value by 10 million euros. He's found some consistency with 24 goals in 32 Premier League games. If he can build on this, his market value can only go even higher, and very quickly. Last but not least, Mateo Kovacic of Chelsea, who increased his value by 4 million euros. He's become one of the most important players at Chelsea recently, as Jorginho has lost some ground in terms of organising the midfield. A key role for the balance in the middle. The market value update wouldn't be complete without also recognising those who've had the biggest drops. So we've put together a list of some of those guys too. So we're going to start with Nicolas Pepe of Arsenal, who was the club record signing who did not quite meet expectations so far. He saw a drop of 7 million euros in his valuation and is mainly due to his decision making, which leaves a lot to be desired. Staying at Arsenal, and Matteo Guendouzi saw his value drop by 8.5 million euros. He was more or less sorted out by Arteta this season, with rumours about his character problems at the training camp in Dubai in the winter break being the cause of the problems. To be dumped, or could start over somewhere else. Completing the trio of Arsenal players in this list, we have Mesut Ozil, who reduced his value by 5.5 million euros. He currently has no market due to his high salary and reputation as being a luxury player. He's also had fitness problems lately and will probably sit out the remainder of his contract next season. Should he attack again in the Premier League, it could go up again if he plays some more. Staying in London, and Kepa, Chelsea's goalkeeper, decreased his value by 4 million euros, which is quite simply due to inconsistent performances. A statement of his future at Chelsea was made in the all-important last game of the season, where he was left on the bench. Chelsea quite simply want to strengthen in goal this summer. Next in line, John Stones of Manchester City lost 6 million euros from his valuation. No longer consistent enough and has struggled with performing at this level. Once again, fitness is proving to be an issue. Back down in London, Ndombele of Tottenham decreased his value of €7 million. He hasn't quite arrived in the Premier League as yet, and he has not justified his huge transfer fee so far and was regularly left out of the squad, but seems to have done enough to attract the interest of Barcelona. Back over in Chelsea, and Batshuayi decreased his value by €3.5 million. Chelsea have given up on the one-time hot prospect. He will need to restart his career elsewhere. Felipe Anderson of West Ham decreased his value by €7 million. He had no major real influence in the second half of the season, and he was not consistent enough and in poor form, especially after the injury. A link to all of the market value changes can be found in the description below. So if you wanted to dig into that further, please feel free to do so. And if you have any grievances with our valuations, please be sure to challenge us and give reasons for that in the comments below. So join us for our show next week, where we'll be back on our regular schedule, and I look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye.